Hey guys, and welcome back to another countdown video. Today we have a little bit of an unusual countdown video, which we will be counting down the top 5 worst LEGO clone troopers that have ever been made, and I haven't done anything like this. Do note that this is subject to opinion, so some of you might not completely agree with this list, but based off of what I am into and what I seek for a clone army, I have based my top 5 worst clone picks off of that. So let's go ahead and get into this. Now, the first clone that I decided to choose was the clone gunner, and I know this is probably going to be the most controversial one on here. Don't get me wrong, the figure itself looks okay for what it was designed for, and that was designed to be more of a vehicle driver, or whether you have him on display inside a vehicle or in a mock on top of, say, the AV7 cannon or something like that. But it doesn't really look that great in armies. Even in mocks, it goes a little bit unnoticed, since he is really primarily only used in vehicles. He often is able to hide from any reasonable camera views whatsoever, so he really is not that necessary of a clone to really own in general, and I don't have very many of these because they just don't really look that good in a clone army, and again, they're just not really that noticeable in a mock either, and that's why I included him on this list. Number 4 is the clone pilot, and I'm trying to think of just something good to say about this. That's why there's a little bit of a pause, but there just really isn't anything good to say about this like there was the clone gunner. You know, his helmet, I guess his printing is pretty good, but it doesn't even look like a clone. I mean, I get that it's supposed to be mimicking the V-Wing pilot. This came with the Palpatine's shuttle back in, I forgot, it was like probably 6 or 7 years ago, but it just looks awful in my personal opinion. I've never really liked the pilots with the open visors to begin with, but the way that face just sort of pokes out of that helmet looks awful. They should have just made one solid helmet if that was the case. And there's not really that much going on in the back printing as well either, but in my opinion, this is not a very good looking clone. It does not get used in mocks for any reason, nor is there reason to include this in stop motion, nor is there reason to include this in a clone army, really just for collection purposes, and if there's for some reason you actually like this figure. And I couldn't see there being too many people who actually favored this clone over others, so that's why I went ahead and included this on the list as well. The next one is one that I think we can all agree upon is not the greatest clone. We have the Bomb Squad Trooper. This is really a hated figure among most people because it's so easy to find, since it came with 2 of them in the Clone Trooper Battle Pack. 7914, I believe, was the set number back in 2011, and people absolutely just hate this figure because its color stands out in a clone army, and it's just super noticeable, and these are really common, so there just is bulk of these clones everywhere and in all sorts of clone armies, and it does nothing for your clone army because it doesn't really look that good at all. And I personally don't mind the clone, to be honest with you, which is kind of a rare statement, but the orange color, it looks pretty cool the way they just put the orange color over the normal white printing, and just that little effect, to me personally, looks pretty cool, but it just looks awful in a clone army, and most people hate it for that reason, especially since it was in a battle pack for clone armies. I guess that's the reason why it gets so much hate. Now, number 2 is one that everybody hates, since it was made for a clone army. And I'll be honest with you, number 2 and 1 are the only clones that I actually flat out do not like, which is kind of a rare statement coming from me. And I don't own any of these, 1 or 2, and you can already guess what 1 is going to be, but I don't own any of these just because I don't even want to. They're not canon. They weren't actually, whoa, sorry about that. They weren't actually in the Clone Wars series or in any of the movies, and they just look weird with that brown color scheme. You know, the camouflage pattern it looks okay, but it's just that this was made to be a clone army figure in a battle pack. I think that's what we don't really get with this, why they would include this in a battle pack instead of just some random set. It just looks awful. Same thing with number 1, which of course you could guess is the Airborne version of this one. The Airborne is even worse because in Airborne, really, that's what they're going to make. Like, even a scout trooper would have been an awful idea, because and they're trying to figure out a second type of figure to put in here. They literally just grabbed the mold off of the 7 Sky Corps and the Utapau Trooper battle pack from the 212 Airborne Trooper, and they literally just put it in here with some different printing, and that is just a cheap knockoff, in my opinion, and that just absolutely. I don't see a need for this in an army. It's not canon, and it just, the helmet mold's cool, and I think they expected people to like it for that reason. But just get some Utapau troopers instead. This one just looks bad because of that color scheme, and again, it's not canon. And I think we can agree that number 1 and 2 really are not the greatest figures. So that's just some of my ideas of some of the worst clones. So some of you are probably going to be disagreeing with me on some of those, and I apologize, and maybe I can make a different list in the future of some more bad clones. Maybe I'll make a list of some more good clones in the future too. Thank you for watching. Sorry if I rambled on for a little bit too long, but again, this was sort of a fun little video to try to figure out what some of the bad clones were, and they especially came from the Clone Army battle pack sections that are useless for clone armies. Just the use of them was what was bad. Again, thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe for some of the more countdown content. May the force be with you, and as always, have a nice day.